Will, how are you finding rugby at the minute? How's all at Leinster? Obviously a great start to the season, unbeaten.
Yeah, no, it's been a really good start, really positive start. So thankfully everything has gone well. And from an international point of view, the lads went off and had a successful autumn series. So no, it's been for us, for the group, it's been really good.
And how is the reintegration, obviously, of the guys coming back into the group? They're only coming back in this week. I know they got about a week off.
Yeah, no, they and it's always a testament to them. They always fit right back in and bring up the standard of training again. It's but like while they were gone away, there's obviously young lads that got to wear those jerseys. So they're hungry to not let them go easy. So it brings a great dynamic to the group, really.
And how do you find the launch here today, the Heineken Champions Cup? Obviously, last year there was heartache there, but you're back at this place again so quickly. It comes around so quick. But you're probably seeing some familiar faces.
Yeah, and that's the thing, you're seeing kind of lads wandering around that I think usually you're trying to get stuck into, but everyone's really nice around here, and it's been a good day so far. It's been enjoyable, but I think it, like you said, it's coming around so quickly. Like obviously after the heartache of last season, I think you didn't think this day would come so quick.
And as a team, is that something that you've put to bed, or do you ever speak about that loss? Is it motivation in a way to not let that happen again?
And that's the thing, I think it's motivation. It was obviously difficult at the time. It was a really, really tough experience for the group because we played well on the day and it was just a few things didn't go our way, and that's we've buried that to an extent, but there's always that underlying kind of motivation from it that'll stand to us in the big games. So no, it's good to have them memories.
And for you personally, you're out with a couple of injuries and you're back now, so how are you feeling?
Yeah, well, I'm just coming towards the end of being back. So I ruptured my bicep a couple of weeks ago, so I was just coming to the end of that. But yeah, it's been a frustrating 2 years now. But you look, hopefully see this side of Christmas kind of back on the paddock, and it's every time I feel like we're talking, I'm injured. So please God, touch wood, this is the end of it.
And how do you balance all of that? Because obviously it's frustrating, I suppose, to be on the sideline. Mentally, I'm sure it's tough because at the end of the day, it's professional sport. You want to be out there. So I suppose, how have you dealt with that? Is there certain ways that you cope with it?
Yeah, so like I started a PhD there about 8 months ago, just looking at kind of bringing a computational view on rugby and the tackle and stuff. So that's been kind of something I've been, pointing my focus to while I've been injured, and it's good to have the balance because I think if it's all just kind of rugby, I drive myself mad because it's a lot of rehab. So to have that balance between the academic end of it as well as being able to go in and do my rehab and give it 100% in there is brilliant.
That's brilliant. And was that something that you decided yourself, or was coaches that sort of told you maybe it might be a good thing to do?
It was so my undergrad was all in kind of computer science and data science, so it was kind of something that I saw there was a bit of a grey area in. Obviously, concussion, everything is such a big topic at the moment, and to break down to the tackle is something you can do through video analysis, but I'm trying to bring a different kind of computer vision look at it. So it's I kind of took on the initiative myself. But I've been so supported by Leinster, and like Leo and stuff have been incredibly supportive with it, and they're constantly keeping tabs on it, and it's been great.
That's amazing. And you mentioned concussion, like it is probably an area of the game that it's talked about a lot now, which is great. It's highlighted, but is there a worry there as players at all for you?
No, not really. I think it's obviously it's obviously not something. It's something that I think we're really protected from in Leinster. There's always, even our medics are really kind of up to date with the latest kind of ways to preventive mechanisms, and kind of if there's a grey area and if they feel like there's any suspicion of a concussion, they're gonna take you off and look after you. So we're lucky with our medical team at the moment that they've been really supportive, and we're not, as players, we feel protected.
Brilliant. And for Leinster this weekend, you play Ulster on Saturday. Big game there. You came close at the start of the season. I think it was 2013, I think it was in the end. So very, very close game. They always put up a big challenge.
Yeah, and they've been, as a group, I think they've come on a huge amount. They've built a really strong bond in there. So you feel that on the pitch, that presence between them. So we've had some really great games with them. Obviously last season we lost to them in the RDS, which was tough. It's not somewhere we lose too often. So they'll be coming hungry as well as confident that they can take a scalp from us. So we're going to have to be on our game.
And is there areas that you hope to improve on from, say, last year's season?
I think the main areas is always things like discipline. I think it's an area that is always an improvement in any team. Kickers these days can get it from anywhere, so you want to keep your discipline down. Over the weekend we had maybe gave away a few penalties, so it's just always improving in areas like that.
And the newly crowned World Rugby Men's 15s player, Josh van der Fleer, he spoke in a few interviews afterwards saying that you actually had spurred him on to, I suppose, do as well as he's done and to be as competitive as he's been. What did you make of that when he made that comment?
Yeah, look, we're great mates, and that's been something we've always had a great friendship. And now when I was playing, we're working with each other the whole time to try and improve each other's game, and testament to him, he's been incredible the last 2 years. But it's behind the scenes what he's been doing. He's constantly working on his game, constantly trying to improve, and I'm gonna have to take a few lessons from him now just to pick up my game. He's really been a great model in the club, and everyone's trying to catch up with him now.
And in the club like Leinster, you've so many world-class players around you. Obviously Johnny Sexton is one. I'm sure he comes up a lot when you're doing interviews, because he is, I suppose, so fascinating at this stage that he's in his later half of his game and he's still doing it at the highest level. What is he like in, say, training?
Look, every training he gives it 100%, and you get, and I think he's a great trainer. He gets stuck into you if you do something wrong, so you want to keep on his good side. Usually as a 7 you're always connected with the 10s. You're beside them a good bit, so you don't want to give it out to you too much, but it's always to get the best out of you. And I think I think maybe as a young player you don't really see that, but everyone else in the group, you see that he's trying to get the best out of everyone, and he does.
Brilliant. And you're going to kick off the Champions Cup against Racing 92 the 10th of December. You're looking forward to it?
Yeah, look, it's a great challenge. We played them in Bilbao in the final a couple of years ago, and it was a massive battle, and we're expecting the exact same. It's not going to be in Paris, so we know that their fans are still going to travel, but just like our fans, they travel, they follow us far and wide, and we're lucky to have such a good fan base that so we know it'll be a good battle with a lot of support there.
Ian Madigan, how's things? You were just chatting there to Will Connors. You're obviously going to be facing him as well at the weekend.
Yeah, not directly, but obviously Leinster Ulster coming up against each other. It's going to be a Royal Rumble of a game. We've had some great matches in recent years, beating them twice last year, and then they came up to our place a few weeks ago and got one back up on us. So I think it's going to be a perfect tee-up for Europe for both sides. I think traditionally for Leinster it was Leinster-Munster leading into Europe. So for us to have this game, to be challenging ourselves against one of the very best sides in Europe, is going to let us know where we stand going into Europe, which is exciting.
As you said, it was very close earlier in the season when they came up to play in Belfast. It was really a wet day that day, if I remember correctly. It was bad weather. It could have went your way. Was it one that you left behind, do you think?
No, we played poorly that day, and we were under no illusions that we were well below our best, and Leinster 100% deserved to win that one. I think to give a side like Leinster a 10-15 point lead, you make things very difficult for yourselves. Now, we did our best to come back into it, and there were elements in the second half that we definitely took value out of. But we know heading down to the RDS that we're going to be in for a serious challenge, and we're going to have to be at our very best. But we believe in Ulster, if we can play to our ability, we can beat anyone on our day, and against Leinster that's no different.
And as your former club, what's it like to play against them? Do you, I suppose, maybe have a little bit of an insight there, or what is it like to play against them now?
Yeah, obviously, you have the utmost respect for them, and they've been at the top of Europe for the last 20 years. So I know that what preparation goes into an interpro game, and what preparation goes into Europe, and there's no secret to their success. It's just thorough preparation. It is unusual for me to come up against players who I would have trained and played with week in, week out, but it also makes it exciting as well.
And how are you finding rugby at Ulster at the minute? A good start to the season, really positive?
Yeah, I'm loving it up there. I think we've a nice dynamic of older players in the squad who've had 8-10 years with unfortunately not winning a trophy, but so they've an insatiable hunger to win a trophy, and then we've a mixture of younger players coming through now who've broken through into the team for 2 or 3 years that have this kind of bulletproof confidence. And I think when you mar those two things together, it's very exciting, and it reminds me of what we had back in 2012, 2013 in Leinster, and when we had success in Europe there. So hopefully what we have in Ulster is replicating that, and will lead us on to hopefully winning Europe this year.
So you feel that this Ulster team can mix it with the best?
Absolutely, yeah. I think for us sometimes in sport you've got to get close and you've got to lose one to win one, and we lost the final against Leinster 2 years ago in the URC. We were within a hair's breadth of making the final last year. We won 5 out of our 6 games in Europe, and unfortunately didn't make the quarterfinals. So we know that we were close, and we also know that how and where we can be a few percent better to be able to mix it with the best. So we've got we're not lacking in self-belief, and we believe that if we play our game and play to our potential, we can beat anyone on our day.
And you have a lot of exciting players at the moment as well. A lot of guys getting their chance internationally as well, so that all helps.
Yeah, I think when guys come back from international camp, you see how much it's filled them with confidence. Training and playing with different players, experiencing different coaches is huge for them. So like even this week, seeing the likes of Rob Balakoon, Mike Lowry, Stu McCluskey after getting a few caps come back, it's been great for them, and that fills the Ulster squad with confidence that we're playing alongside the best players in the world.
And do you ever think about the Ireland squad anymore? You've about 31 caps, if I'm right in saying. Do you ever think about it?
I'm always thinking about it. Look, I think from my own personal stance, I'm miles away from being involved with Ireland. But you never lose hope, and sport's a funny thing. A lot can change quite quickly, and if I can get into the Ulster team and play well, and we go on a run of games and win some trophies, maybe you could force your way into the wider World Cup squad then. But I know that's a long way away. But I wouldn't be playing the game if I didn't have that hope.
Absolutely. And the likes of Robert Balakoon is someone who's really stood out this year. He's got his chance, and he started 2 of the games as well, which is brilliant to see. Yeah,
Rob is he's a really special player. From an athletic performance point of view, he's quick, he's agile, he's very good in the air, he's a good kicking game, he's a good passer, he works very hard as a winger. Really nice guy to play with because he's always calling the ball on himself, which is what you want as an out half. So for me, I think he's one of the best wingers in the world, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do in Europe this year.
Brilliant. And in the Champions Cup, you have the La Rochelle, I think, on the 11th of December, so the reigning champion. So not an easy one to come up against.
No, we've two tough teams in our group. Sale are a side that have gone well in the Premiership this year. They've a big pack that's going to challenge us up front, and starting away from home is always difficult. It is a competition that you've got to try and build momentum, and you can find yourself under pressure very quickly if you do lose that first game. So to get that game right, and then be bringing La Rochelle to the Kingspan, we've a good record there. It's a very tough place to go and play. So we're confident that we can beat anyone at home. But look, the way that the competition's laid out this year, I think every point's gonna count. It's different to last year, where it was less important to be as high up the ladder as possible. Whereas this year, to be in the top 8, especially to get a home last 16, and even to be in the top 4 to potentially win that game and get a home quarterfinal is crucial. So we'll definitely have that within our goals.
Malakai, your first season at Munster, how have you been finding it so far?
It's been great. We're building nicely. It started slow for myself and the team as well, but obviously a lot of new coaches and myself new, and new system in place, so we're building nicely, so hopefully we can do well in this competition.
Yeah, obviously there's Graham Roundtree is in, there is new coaches in there, they're finding their feet, you're finding your feet, so it does take a little bit of time. I suppose you have to trust the process, especially when you have new systems in place.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah, and that's what we've been working on is focus on what we can control, which is hard work, and that's what we're all about there. you can see the things change slowly. We start getting result now, and win a couple, 2 or 3 games now in a row, and hopefully we can build.
And did that all kick off with your win against South Africa in Perky Queeve? That was a massive occasion.
It did, yeah. Honestly, it was, it's a proper game. I could see how much it meant to the boys and also to the Munster fans, and can feel the buzz around the club, and I believe that's the start of something, and hopefully we can carry that on to the Champions Cup.
Did you realise of how big a game it was before you went into it? Obviously, you'd only arrived over. You obviously know all about South Africa, but I suppose to play in Perky Queeve, it's not the done thing in Ireland.
Yeah, I knew playing in the national side would be big, and but I didn't think the whole experience gonna be that big, if you know what I mean. Like it was felt like a test match. It was for the boys, and the fans loved it. It was sold out, and hopefully there's many more games like that in the future. Yeah.
And how was it for you to make the transition to the style of play, I suppose, here in Ireland and Munster, and how they play to what you would have been used to?
Look, it's tough, especially for myself, trying to get connection with the players, and also finding out what works and what not. And, and the game doesn't slow down for you, you know what I mean? Like, and all that matters is result, and while you're trying to find your feet, the game doesn't stop. So it is hard, I'm not going to lie, but, I'm still working, and I'm still working hard behind the scene, and a lot of guys are helping out to make things easier for me, and I just can't wait to come out on the other side. Yeah.
And I'm sure you bring a lot of experience, obviously playing with the All Blacks, a World Cup winner in 2015. So I'm sure a lot of the players that you play alongside, to have someone of your calibre there with them, that's just a positive thing.
Yeah, look, I brought into the club to hopefully add on to what they have, and I've done that in a few patches of the games and in the first earlier games of the season, and I'm hoping that I can add more, and that's why I'm here in Munster, and I'm just excited what's to come as a team, and also myself adding on to the legacy of the club.
And you had some amazing years with the All Blacks. Looking back on all of that, I suppose what comes to mind? Is there a special memory?
Yeah, looking back, and there's a lot of special moments for me as a player, in my career and as a player. But I think I'll take back two of them. Would be obviously the main one, the World Cup. To be part of that journey was unbelievable for myself to sacrifice and to work through with those bunch of boys to obviously won the cup. But I'll take back to my one of the games against Australia. It was the Bledisloe Cup game, and I think you win that game, you win the cup, and I scored the winning try in that game. And I think the feeling I had was, it's hard to explain, but probably one of the highlights of my career. Yeah.
Brilliant. And what's it like doing the haka?
Yeah. No, it's always hard, it's easier in front of the mirror the night before, but when it comes to business, it's obviously the nerves come up, and it's serious, trying to lock in, make sure that you don't, mess it up. But then, look, you just go through with it, and the emotion and everything just comes, and adrenaline comes, and you just do it. And for me, it's special. It's special because it's our culture, both me as a Tongan and as Kiwi as well. But it's kind of like prep you for the game ahead as well. It means business. You're ready to go. So, yeah.
And for some people that maybe aren't as used to going out and almost performing before you start playing rugby, like, did you get nervous about going out to do it?
Of course, yeah, of course. I know it's even now I'm still nervous before games. But I know it's only natural. If you're nervous, you're ready to play. So it is, yeah. Like every game, it's new. And back then, doing the haka, yes, of course, I was still nervous. But but it just it's become normal. You kind of have to show up and get it done.
And now internationally, it's Tongan that you've actually played for. Now you actually switched over back to your home country.
Yeah, I am. And being part of the All Blacks was special. It was a dream come true for me. You grew up in Tonga. Obviously, it's not far from New Zealand. You grew up in Tonga, and you inspired by the guys who were before me, all the Tongans. They play for the All Blacks, and like the likes of Lomu. You want to be there, and then you achieve the impossible, and then obviously I've moved over here to play in Europe, and I've decided to go back and represent my country, where I was born, represent my family who are still there in Tonga. My mom and some of my siblings are still there, and I think it's a new purpose for me, and hopefully I can do or even inspire the next kids coming through to not only play for Tonga but to play the sport that we all love. So yeah.
Absolutely, and I'm sure you inspire so many. And they went through a lot of hardship over the last number of years, if I'm right in saying there was a tsunami.
Yeah. Obviously, there was a lot went on in the last few years with the earthquake, and tsunami came after, and lucky enough, a lot of the rugby community helped out, with the fundraise I've done, and a lot, and send a lot of goods back to the islands, and to reach out to all the smaller islands as well. And I'm always thankful for for the position I am, and also the rugby community who helped out and give hands. Yeah, so